All right, you guys see the title of the video. Can CJ Stroud's sophomore season be the greatest sophomore season in the history of college football? At the end of the day, how good can CJ Stroud be in 2022? Who knows? But we'll talk to it. What's up, y'all? It's DJ the Sports Blur here. Did y'all miss me? I have a hell of a video for all my fellow Buckeyes. We're going to discuss number 7 from Ohio State and how good he can be in his sophomore season at Ohio State. If you're a fan of college football, or if you just like to hear me rant, smash that like button and consider subscribing. To all of you that have already liked my videos, commented on the videos, subscribed, I really appreciate it. When I first started this channel, I just like talking about college football. So I appreciate all the love I've gotten. I've appreciated even all the hate I've gotten. And you know what? I kind of want to throw a challenge out there. Obviously, when I started this channel, I had no subscribers. Now I'm at almost, I think I'm at 90 now. So let's try and get to 100 subscribers, and I'll put a bonus video out this week, and I'll even let y'all pick the topic. So hit that subscribe button, and then leave a comment below in the comment section, and let me know what you'd like me to tackle. So before I get into CJ Stroud, I wanted to share an interesting article I came across the other day. It was titled "Coaches Poll: College Football Rankings Greatest Programs of All Time." So essentially, this ranking was based on the final coaches poll, based from 1950 all the way up to last year, 2021, and the results are shocking. I'm going to skip right to the top 10. I'm not going to do all 25 teams. I'm just going to do the top 10. So this video isn't going to take as nearly as long. So I'm going to read this off, and I want you guys to really listen to them. Hopefully your team's out there. So at number 10, you have Florida State. I mean, recently they've been trash, and they've been underwhelming to say the least. But during the Bobby Bowden era, that ran from 1976 all the way to 2009, they won 2 national championships. They won 12 ACC championships. They were always solid. They were always in contention. At number 9, you have the Longhorns. Again, another historic, once dominant program. At number 8, you have Penn State. You have the Nittany Lions. Joe Pa was a really good coach for a really long time. Tied at number 6, you have the Cornhuskers from Nebraska, USC. A lot of success from those two programs, especially in the mid-90s and early 2000s. At number 5, you have the Golden Domers themselves. You have Notre Dame. At number 4, you have the all-time winningest program. The team up north is what we call them here in Ohio. You might call them the Michigan Wolverines. At number 3, I'm surprised this team is number 3. I'm surprised they're not higher. But you have the Alabama Crimson Tide. So these next 2 teams are going to probably surprise you because they're tied for number 1. So at number 1, you have the Oklahoma Sooners, and then you have the Ohio State Buckeyes. I noticed a couple of things when I was looking at these rankings. The first thing I see is that the SEC's dominance has only been a recent thing. If it weren't for Alabama being there at number 3, there would be no top 10 SEC schools. Another thing I noticed is that the Big Ten has been dominating college football for decades. There are 4 Big Ten teams and the greatest in the rankings for the greatest programs of all time, at least in the top 10. There's more outside the top 10, but 40% of the top 10 schools who are considered the greatest programs, Big Ten schools. I believe the Big Ten will be dominant again, but probably not anytime soon. I think they're just as competitive as any conference, but they just don't have the recent championships to show for. One of the reasons why I think the Big Ten is going to be dominant again is Urban Meyer. Kind of stick with me on this one. I'm going to go a place, and I really want you guys to kind of focus in on what I'm getting ready to say. So while he hasn't coached football since 2008, his presence was the reason for the SEC resurgence. So Urban Meyer's presence made the SEC the toughest conference it is today. I know it's shocking, but again, just stick with me. I'm not calling him the greatest coach of all time. However, when you put things in perspective, the way he utilized his spread offense, the one he started in Bowling Green, he developed it in Utah, and then he took it to Florida and won national championships. That spread offense is practically being used by every SEC coach today in some facet. The SEC at the time Urban got there wasn't even considered the best conference, and the rankings even backed that. So Urban, he recruited smaller linebackers that were very fast and could cover a lot of ground. His offensive line was formed with big, powerful athletes that can move in space. He had an emphasis about the D-line, specifically defensive ends. They were just crazy athletes that were really fast, could really move. And even his quarterbacks that he let run his offense were typically dual threat, something that was practically unheard of before he entered the SEC. Think about what dual threat quarterbacks used to get called. I mean, they used to get trolled all the time. Oh, this guy would never make it in the league. This guy's just a gimmick. He's just a niche. So as a matter of fact, most teams ran a pro-style offense in the SEC with a game manager at quarterback and a really strong running game before Urban got there. Now, I know some of you are still like, DJ, how did this help the SEC? And it's really simple. It's for the same reason it helped the Big Ten. The Urban had the same effect in the Big Ten. So to compete against Urban Meyer, Percy Harvin, Tim Tebow, and all those great quarterbacks and players that he had, his competitors had to duplicate his offense. Auburn, they went out and got a Cam Newton. He was once a Florida Gator. Alabama, you guys went out, got a Bryce Young. Texas A&M went out and got a Johnny Manziel. Think about Johnny Manziel for a second. Think about how good Alabama's defense was and the type of troubles that Johnny Manziel used to give Alabama. I mean, he was a dual threat. He could run just as well as he could throw. And, the rest of the SEC, they started recruiting faster players who were more positionless and were more athletic above anything else. Now, consider this. When Urban came to Columbus, he inherited a quarterback by the name of Braxton Miller. He was a very good athlete. So while he wasn't the greatest thrower, he was an amazing athlete. Probably even better than Tim Tebow. This is what Urban Meyer has said, not me. Urban Meyer's next quarterback that he chose at Ohio State was also a dual threat quarterback by the name of J.T. Barrett. So under Barrett's watch, OSU, they won a national championship. They won multiple big games, and JT pretty much broke every record there was to break in the Big Ten and at Ohio State. This then forced the rest of the Big Ten to catch up. Urban's offense would make a traditional defense look archaic. The opponents looked like slow and outdated chess pieces. It was almost like Ohio State was a Ferrari playing against, Toyotas. The opponents had to get better. Michigan State adapted and got better. Michigan adapted and got better. Hell, even Wisconsin in their own way adapted and got better. When you take a step back and you look at Urban's imprint on college football, his imprint may just be greater than Nick Saban's. Crazy thought, but it's just some food for thought. Let me know down below in the comment section what you think about that. Am I right or am I wrong about that? I really think that I had something. And I can even make the case that the guy we're going to talk about later on this video, CJ Stroud, is at Ohio State just because of Urban Meyer. So let me know what you think about that. Now, speaking of CJ Stroud, is it possible that he's just now scratching the surface as he returns for a sophomore campaign? I think so. Consider this. After losing Justin Fields to the NFL, Ohio State was not supposed to dominate like they did last year. Stroud was thrown into action early with the season opener at Minnesota. And in that game, he went 13 for 22. He had 294 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 pick. As you look at his season stats, his numbers are mind-boggling. I mean, the guy threw for over 4,400 yards. He had a 72% completion rate. He threw 44 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. Like, really sit back and think about those numbers. And then remember that the guy was just a freshman. Bryce Young gets all the respect in the world, too, because same thing. Just with 2 young quarterbacks doing it at the best level. And they were both, obviously, in New York for the Heisman ceremony. Now, he wasn't perfect. And just remember that when he was putting those numbers up, he also looked like a freshman at time. So versus Oregon, you could tell by some of his late reads and some of his missed throws that he was a little shaky. Still finished the game 35 for 54. He had 484 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. But those miscues that he had versus Oregon in the shoe kind of came back and reared their head when he went to the big house in the season finale versus Michigan. But I'll give him credit. It's hard to play in the big house under those circumstances. Hell, Troy Smith, who was a Heisman winning trophy quarterback at Ohio State, The Wolverines even gave him troubles. Now, I know what you're saying. How can he be better if he's losing two stud wide receivers? You had Chris Olave, and then you have Garrett Wilson. They have the potential both to be top 10, if not first round picks. And the answer is simple. He's going to get more comfortable with another year under his belt. And he has Marvin Harrison Jr., Julian Fleming, and of course he has Jackson Smith and Jigba coming back. So the shells will be loaded with talent. So some of his top end throws that he can make, he puts himself up there with some of the best talent in the country. I mean, I've seen him make some throws and it just really just kind of left my mouth open. His confidence will increase next year as he gains more experience also. So last year, even with him being a freshman, he was still pretty clutch on conversion downs and in the red zone. But, there's always room for improvement. This year, he's going to open up versus Notre Dame, and they'll have a game versus Wisconsin at home later in September. And this is going to show if he's legit or not. One facet of his game that he's going to have to improve on is his running ability. He doesn't have to run like Justin Fields. I mean, I don't think a lot of people can. But if he has just a little bit of running, defenses are going to have to respect that, and they can't just lay in coverage all day. I mean, they were laying in coverage all day last year, and he was still picking them apart. So think about this. Last year, he rushed the ball 32 times for negative 20 yards. Imagine what he could do if he ran the ball, let's say 75 to 100 times, and, he had 300 to 500 yards. There would be no defense that could stop the Buckeyes. So I do believe that he's going to come back, get a little bit better at this. He's probably going to bulk up a little bit, and he's probably going to put a little bit more strength on. So let me know what y'all think. It's been real. This was my video, in my off base and my on base. Let me know what you guys think about CJ Stroud. Let me know what you guys think about the all-time programs, Urban Meyer, all that. So also, don't forget about that challenge. Subscribe. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Appreciate you guys sticking by and sharing some time with me. And until then, I got nothing left to say. Peace.